Well, hello, welcome to Perfectly Twisted. um, I'm Nicole Eggert. This is Dave Palais.
Hey, good morning. Well, for us, it's good morning, but you look like you're all ready to go out, or are you just coming home?
Oh yeah, those are the days. I'm just coming home. Um, no, I mean I've had a full morning already, but I was doing some auditioning in my car again.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh
Fantastic.
my lord. Okay, so funny audition is that it's for, I guess, like a Korean anime kind of thing, but they
Okay.
want American accent actress. And so, I read the character description and it's like strong, bold, condescending, all of these things. And then they give a sample of the Korean actress and they're like, we want it on this same tone. I mean, I fell out of my chair. I was like, listening to the Korean actress, and she's got like the softest, sweetest voice, speaking in Korean, which is so different than how like we structure our sentences, right? So
Yeah.
like it just everything is so different. So I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get what I'm supposed to sound like. I don't get how I'm supposed to emulate this. I just it was one of those where it was like, well, I am just gonna hit the record and let it fly. But yeah, I mean, just like totally non-American. Like there was nothing American about it, and I was like, I don't know. I don't
How many
what.
takes do you give yourself?
Just two.
Okay.
Like I'll rehearse it out loud, and then you might as well if you're just gonna wing it, just go, just let it record. But yeah, I thought that was very funny. I was like, well, I don't know what they mean by that. I just don't know how anything I do could sound like this woman. But
Think about it. Somebody was doing your voice for Baywatch around the world, though, too.
oh
You know?
yeah, lots of different people. So many different people, and you're like, it's so bizarre, um, because if you don't speak that language, it's like, how do you know if they're a good actor or not?
Yeah.
Like, maybe they made you look so much better than you are, or maybe, or maybe they ruined every line
Yeah.
reading. Like, I just think it's so funny. That's so random. But I don't enjoy watching movies where it's dubbed. I would much rather hear the actual actor and read the
And read it.
subtitles.
Me too.
I just don't like it when it's dubbed. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's
No, me
just
too.
my yeah.
But is it meant for this work you're doing? Is it meant for younger people who maybe can't read, or is it meant for people who can read?
No, I think it's an American version of something.
I mean, I don't know the age. I don't know the age. That I don't know. I mean, I guess, and you know what? It's funny. I do know people my age who do like exactly the anime. They do enjoy it. So I guess, yeah, you should be able to read. I guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
anime is for all ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of
Okay.
people yeah, no, anime is definitely, yeah, for all ages. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah, they can read, Dave. I just think
Uh,
this is an American version, but so we'll see. That one's
Okay.
really, like, sticking
Yeah.
some darts
Maybe you
up
should
at the
stop
wall,
saying that.
but
Maybe it's bad for business if you keep saying that.
saying what?
Something they don't need other voices. They just why don't we just read it? This is the job we're trying to get here. Hey, nobody wants to read that. They want an American voice. You're going to need my voice to fix this thing right here. So it keeps selling it that way. That people don't want to read it. But I do prefer. I'm like you. I'm not obviously looking for a role, but I'm like you. I'd rather just read it in any movie. I'd rather read the accent. It could be any language, but I'd rather read it than listen to someone bad acting, what I feel is bad acting.
Yeah, no, I mean, this one I don't know anything if it was bad acting or not. I don't understand the language, but, yeah, yeah, it's just funny. It's just a weird
There you go. Do
weird.
people do you have neighbors yet that notice what you're doing when you're walking in the car dressed up and you never go anywhere?
I don't know. And I'm climbing in the back seat, not
Yeah.
even the front seat.
Yeah, then she gets out and
Um,
goes back in the house. Like, I don't know what she's
I
doing.
did wave at one of my neighbors this morning, actually getting into the car, and I've got my laptop and my microphone in my hand, and I'm getting into it, but I'm pretty positive they're not really surprised by much.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they paid any attention, but yeah, that's funny. It's sitting in my car. Listen, there's worse things I could be doing sitting in
You're
my
right.
car.
Exactly right. A lot of people are doing worse things in their car. You're
Yeah,
absolutely right.
there's a lot more sus out there I could be doing. Yes. So can we talk? I now have questions about this whole Dodgers.
Yeah, go
The
ahead.
Dodgers. Okay, so there's that great place where you can go and you sit, and they have cameras all over the field in Japan, and it's like that dome sports bar, so you feel like you're right on the field, and people are there. People are there at 3 in the morning, and then they asked this one lady, like, what was your motivation to get up? And she's like, my boyfriend. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
She must really love him in a different kind of way to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And why does he even want her there? I mean, like, it's so interesting to me. But
Okay,
so
she said boyfriend. She didn't say husband. She said boyfriend.
boyfriend. Okay,
Yeah.
true.
The title was different. Maybe, hey,
Okay.
and it's not getting up at 3. You have to be there at 3.
Well,
The
I
game starts at
know.
3. Yeah.
I know you have to be there at 3. But anyways, these arenas look great, these virtual things. I love it. But okay, so I get it that the game starts at 3
Yeah.
because of the time difference. Now, let me ask you a question. Is
Yeah.
it because
Yeah.
of spoilers? I mean, why can't you wait till 6 when you wake up and then turn it on if you've recorded it?
Spoilers.
It's
It's also the
spoilers. Well, what if you just tuned everything out
you
and then
could.
you just woke up at 6 and turned it on because you recorded it, and you got to watch it at your own time?
Okay, so I'm gonna just answer for someone who's just a huge Dodger fan. It's game one. It actually these games counted towards the regular season. So for people who aren't aware, it was Los Angeles against Chicago, 2 games in Japan, and these games have been scheduled for a couple of years. It was a big deal. It was obviously it was a big deal to get an invite to be one of the 2 teams. It just happened to be the Dodgers have 3 Japanese players, the Cubs have 2 Japanese players. All those players were huge stars in Japan before they came to the United States. Now they're coming home wearing Major League Baseball uniforms. That's the dream of these Japanese baseball players, to one day make it to the major leagues. And so it's opening day after being world champions. It's our first game since we beat the Yankees, and you kind of just want to ride the wave and be part of it. Now, Dodgers' real opening day will be in front of their fans will be next Thursday, and that will be, I think, on the 27th, where they get their rings and everything else, and that will be exciting. But this was a big deal. Now, the one thing that's different about Japanese baseball, number one, it is a the number one sport, and the fans in Japan love the Dodgers. Huge Dodger fans. The ratings for the World Series were amazing in the United States, but they're even bigger in Japan than they were in the United States this past year. 2 American teams in Japan had, I think, 13 million viewers, and it was a big deal. It was quiet though inside the dome. They played in this place called the Tokyo Dome, and the reason they said it was quiet, the tickets were so expensive. They were averaging about $10,000 a seat. And they said
Wow.
wealthy people don't lose their mind like the maniacs who buy the cheap seats, and get drunk. And that's why it was quiet. But they said if it was a Japanese game against another Japanese team, would have been really loud, and you would have heard tons of banging on drums and music and chants. And they said it was more respectful and quiet, and the people were kind of, even the baseball players were kind of bummed out. We heard about how the crowd is so into it, but they really weren't. It was more of telling your friends, hey, I went to the game and I could afford to go to the game, and it was pretty quiet. But yeah, it was they're sold out. The stadium is only 45,000 people. There was a funny part in the game, Nicole, the very first game, where an umpire has a microphone on his hip, and usually it's to tell the crowd that we're reviewing a call, and then they'll tell you the guy's either safe or out after the review. And someone in the crowd had a laser pointer and was pointing it from center field into the batter's eyes. And so the umpire walks out in front of home plate. He touches his mic. This never even happens in America. And he points right in that direction from 450 feet away. You with the laser pointer, knock it off. And then it stopped. It was like my mom was umpiring all of a sudden. Like, who says knock it off? And if you're that one guy, like, oh my God, I just got yelled at by the umpire. How do you pick me out of 45,000 people? But it did make me laugh. That part made me laugh.
Knock
But
it off.
yeah, knock it off. But anyway,
But
for me, it was
seriously, knock it off. Why
yeah,
would you do that? Like,
yeah, well,
being
yeah.
an idiot.
Yeah, don't be an idiot. Even if that was here, we'd all say, "What are you doing?" You know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm a goof. I got up. I'm dead tired after two games in a row of watching this, and my dog's tired of me getting up and watching these games because she has to follow me everywhere I go. But yeah, getting up at 3 or getting up at 3 for me, I just walk downstairs knowing at 3:05 is the first pitch. I'm going to make it. But that lady and her boyfriend, yeah, they probably got up at 1 in the morning or never went to sleep, and it's we're going straight to the event.
Yeah, well, the place was packed, and then there was one guy who said, "Oh, I'm so used to getting up for, I'm retired now, but I used to get up to be at work at 5 every morning, so this isn't that big of a stretch." And
It's
I'm thinking, there's a
it's
big
different.
difference between being
You are
somewhere at
right.
3 AM and being somewhere at 5 AM, but okay.
You're
And
right.
I mean, I guess I get it, just the excitement. Wasn't it it's also the first time in history where the teams and everybody up to like, everybody on whatever you call it, up to bat, on bases, whatever, all of that was all Japanese players with the 2 American teams.
Wait, say that part. I'm confused. What's the
They it was
question?
they said in the first time in history, they had 2 American teams, like, ready to go, but it was all Japanese players.
No, no, no. So each team had Japanese players. Most major league teams don't even have one Japanese player. The Dodgers have
Right,
3
no,
and
but
the
they were
Cubs have
saying
2.
there was one particular moment where it was the
Pitchers.
first they broke something in history.
It's probably that
Um,
the both starting pitchers were Japanese. Was probably the
Probably, yes,
yeah,
whatever, all of it, like, set
yeah.
up, right? It was the first time in history that it was, like, all Japanese, and I thought that that was just super cool, probably pretty
You know
exciting.
what? And credit to the Dodgers. I mean, I know I'm a fan, but the Dodgers understood this market and the business model to this a while back. I mean, not only are these tremendous baseball players, but the Dodgers understood we get multiple TV contracts, which is everything in business and sports business. The TV deals, not the people that really go to the stadium, but we get 2 TV deals, a Japanese TV deal, an American TV deal, and the marketing is amazing worldwide. Where you and I have discussed this in the past before. You could go anywhere in the world and somebody will be wearing a Yankee hat. Somebody will have a Yankee hat on. The
Yeah,
Dodgers are now the number one brand in baseball, and I think most of it has to do with them bringing in players from Korea and Japan, and they're always the first to do it. And now they understood that hey, marketing is everything. Kind of crazy,
yeah. Yeah,
kind of crazy.
yeah, big deal. But hasn't it always been sort of also like if you don't make it here in Major League Baseball, there are a lot of players do go over to
Yes.
Japan to play
Yeah.
and have
It's
full
lesser
careers,
baseball.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Tom Selleck actually made a movie about it, I think in the late 80s, but yeah, that's the way it usually is. If you usually can't cut it here, usually go play somewhere else. And Japan's, the next level. And everyone says it's great. I think you and I have talked about it. Japan is supposed to be outstanding. The people are extremely nice and it's extremely clean. And
Yeah,
it made me
beautiful.
nervous that the Dodgers have a guy on their team. He's number 37, Teoscar Hernandez. Every time someone on the Dodgers hits a home run, his celebration is he gets 2 handfuls of sunflower seeds and he throws them in the face of the guy that just hit the home run. And I'm thinking in Japan, they're going, we don't throw stuff on the field. Like you don't throw your gum, you don't spit. That's not a custom in Japan. And I'm like, this guy's throwing seeds all over the place. They're freaking out.
Oh,
Yeah, and I think we
yeah.
hit 3 of them today. I'm like, this guy's throwing seeds. Someone has to go pick every one of those seeds off the turf. It's not
Oh,
grass. It's off.
Tawny's over there, like, picking them all up,
Yeah.
like,
Oh
"Clean
yeah,
up
they've
the
showed
field,"
Otani do that in the past at
right?
Dodger
Because don't they
Stadium. He
say he
picks up
walks
trash.
around, he picks up trash
Yeah,
all the time?
yeah. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? You're a visitor here. It's pretty funny.
I know, that's so funny, but yeah, it's embedded in them, like, it's a
Yeah,
respect thing, I get it, that's so funny.
yeah.
Yeah, and they're doing great, right? Like, it's all going really
Oh
well.
yeah.
I
We
always
did
say the
great.
marketing for the Dodgers and the Yankees, they were no dummies because to put LA on the hat and to put
Yeah,
NY on the other
yeah,
hat, people are going to buy these no matter
yeah,
what, even if you're not a baseball fan, because it
yeah,
represents the city.
yeah,
So, like, it's so smart with their marketing. It's just, yeah, it's genius. And the LA Dodgers sign has become a sign for LA. Like,
yes. You're
yeah,
right. You're 100% right. I mean, you don't have to be a baseball fan, and I mean, I have friends who are from Pittsburgh who will say the Dodgers have the best logo. Like they'll say, or the Dodgers have the best color blue, and the Yankees, the NY, how that was designed. It just if you walked into a hat store and you weren't a baseball fan at all, I guarantee your eyes would go both to the Yankees and the Dodgers. You wouldn't look at the other ones. They're plain. It
sure. And
somehow it
especially if you're
grabs you.
looking for like a souvenir too,
Yeah,
right? Or,
yeah,
the best logo ever.
yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Yeah, it's they're smart business minds and they know what they're doing, you
they
know.
do. They really,
Yeah.
really do, because there's nothing about Dodgers on that hat, but
Yeah.
we all know, because at
That's it.
least
We
the
all
Yankees, NY,
yeah.
it ties in. LA, not at all. Not at all, but everybody knows.
Everyone knows. Exactly right. Exactly right. So
Yes.
you said other auditions that you were doing. I just want to go back real quick. Is because I love that you're sharing this, by the way, on the show. You did it in the last show too, that you're sharing. Do you how long does it take to ever hear back? Like if
Well,
it's
that's my question. I'm like, how many am I gonna do of these before, like, I actually book a job? Um, I don't know. I have
okay,
no idea, but it takes 0 time. They're fun to do, and so if I were to book one, it would help me out financially exponentially, so I just keep doing it.
good, good.
Yeah, it's, I
Eventually,
always feel like, I always feel like if you throw enough darts, eventually something sticks.
yeah, absolutely. No, I'm with you, and it's funny is I love the fact that you share because I think people on the show are rooting for you. You know, it's like, hey, all right, let's do this. Let's do this. Keep going. You know, this is going to be awesome.
I mean,
But,
you know what I would love is to get a TV show. I haven't had a audition yet for like a series regular. Like I would love to have a show where you would
yeah,
like create a character and like be that character for a season, like or many seasons.
yeah.
That would be the ideal job. That would be the dream job.
Is TV, curious to know what you think. Is TV better or worse now than what it was, let's say 25, 30 years ago?
Well,
Meaning, because I know, all of a sudden you have reality shows that are taking up, jobs that used to be a scripted shows. But at the same time, do you like the quality of television or just so many different options that it's never going to be the same?
Well, so here's my thing is that there's so many options that there's something out there for everyone. And I love that. And there's something for every mood. And you don't have to wait each week to watch something. And if you missed it, you hope your VHS caught it. Your recorder caught it. I love all of that. The other side of that coin is sort of from the actor's perspective and a fan base perspective. When you had limited options, you had bigger hits
Yeah,
and your
sure.
career had more longevity and the people loved you. And so now it's a little bit different. Now it's not like they don't follow you along with your career to see what you're doing next. It's not really like that anymore. It's the new
Yeah,
project and who's the new talent associated, or attached to that project. So, it's plus and minuses. It just is. I think when you had 4 stations,
yeah,
your options were very limited. But at that same time, it was harder to get a show on. It had to be good TV programming, otherwise it wasn't going to make it because they didn't have enough room. Now, they've got enough space to give everything a chance. But it's just the sign of the times. It's just change, which I think is fine.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's funny because you always hear, ratings. I mean, I think a lot of people who are viewers or listeners to the radio, they say, I hear the ratings on that show were insane. What you brought up a really good point. There are only 3 or 4 stations. I mean, when I lived in LA, I think we had, you had the 3 major ones, the 3 major networks, and then you had a channel 11 or you had a channel 13 and then channel 9. That was rare compared to other places. Like when I moved to out of California for a while, there only really were 3 stations plus public television. That's all you got. So
Yeah.
someone's watching CBS, NBC, ABC, obviously the ratings are going to be huge because there's only 3 options to go to.
Yeah.
And people go, oh man, the show's not as good as so and so back when MASH was on or whatever. You know what I mean? Like the options were different, and now it's hard to read as far as how many people are watching something because most people who are, let's say, your daughter's age, they don't even own televisions now. You're hearing they just stream through their phone or their tablets, and it's hard to judge viewers off of that as well, and it's confusing. So I think there's a lot of talent out there and a lot of really good actors. You would know, and a lot of good writers, but you can't sit there and judge things off for ratings and say this show was better than the shows today. There's still a lot of talent out there. Just we as viewers, consumers, we have a lot more to choose from.
Yeah. Well, there's two things to that is that also back then there were less TV shows being done, so there was more content.
Yeah,
Right? So it was the first time, like MASH was an army show, all of these things were like the first time we were seeing these kinds of
sure.
things. So that made it very fresh and exciting. And now it's done 50 million times and all of that. But with the ratings, now they can tell the age group that's watching, how long were they watching, when did they fall off, when did they tune out,
Yeah,
are they watching commercials, are they not? It's so much more detailed that they can really like hone in on how to fix the show.
yeah,
So, is it too much information? I don't know. But they've got all the information now. It's like, okay, if people are falling out at this point in the show, then, let's switch it up. And it gives them more of an opportunity to start, changing the shows. But yeah, it takes some of the organicness out
yeah.
of it.
No, I
Yeah.
understand. I understand. Did when you were doing, let's say TV, I mean you're young. When you're young, you always think there's something even bigger, better always happening. But when you're in the middle of doing, let's say Charles in Charge, and then you go to Baywatch, at any point in your life, do you ever try and catch yourself and going, man, this is as good as it gets? Or do you think in your mind there's going to be bigger roles or other things I'm going to do in the future that are going to be bigger than this? Do you like, I remember always trying to catch myself in my, as I'm going through, two kids and having a job that I really enjoy, going, man, I wonder if it ever gets better than this. Like, am I living the best part of my life right now? When you get older and you look back and you say that was as good as it got in my 30s, my 40s, my 50s, whatever the circumstance was. Did you ever catch yourself in the moment going, I'm on the number one TV show in the world right now. I got a ton of friends. I have my health. Everything's pretty awesome. I can't imagine it getting better than this.
Not really, if I'm being honest. No, and I don't know if it's like a little bit of my Peter Pan syndrome that I had. Since I kind of grew up with it always, I think maybe there was something that maybe took for granted, like that this is just always something that's going to be happening in my life. This is just one job, the next job, one experience onto the next experience, and I never really felt like I went into things with that pressure of like, okay, is this going to be the number one show? um is this gonna be the one? I think because I grew up with it, it became something that I did and something that I love doing, not something I was like avidly pursuing and hoping for that dream and that
Yeah.
big number one job. That was never my approach. My approach was always one project at a time, enjoying what we were doing while we were doing it. And if people loved it and received it well, great. If they didn't, no. I remember the one time I felt a lot of pressure was when I was cast to do a spinoff of Married with Children. And I got this audition last minute. It was to go read in front of all the producers, a room full of producers, which generally you do an audition with the casting director. Then you get called back with maybe some notes, and then you meet with producers, and then you meet with network, and it's this whole process. But
Yeah.
not mine. This was this last minute thing, and I had to go in what I was wearing, and I remember I had a like a leopard bra on for some reason that day. So I was like pulling my shirt down and I was making myself look very as much as I could Married with Children-esque, right? And I got there, I got the material, and I just went in there and like just created a character, and I just went for it. And I got home and they were like, you were genius. They loved you. You booked it. Just like that.
Wow.
And then, I get the script and it's going to be this spin-off. And I was like, the pressure, because I didn't even know what I did. I didn't even remember what my audition was.
Yeah.
I don't remember, like, you kind of when you like black out on things, you just go for it, you do it. And I really had no idea what I did that they loved. So I remember going into that with just a lot of pressure, going, okay, now I have to do an entire 30 minutes, a 30-minute show. And they loved something about me, and I have no idea what that is. Like, I didn't know, no clue. And I felt like it became very over rehearsed, and it didn't work. The spinoff just didn't really work. And I think that's for a number of reasons, but it just, that was one where I was like, this is writing on me right now, and I don't know what I did. I don't, you
Yeah.
know.
Did the show ever go on air?
It aired, yeah, it did air, and it ended up looking like a strange episode of Married with Children.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of people remember it, and I hear about it all the time, and it was fun, but, yeah, that was the one time I felt like this is, like, a lot of stress, and I feel like it messed me up a little bit.
Yeah. That's interesting. Was that didn't they what that was the one on the Bobcat, was it? With was it that one, or I remember like Nikki Cox and Bobcat had one, I thought, and then I don't know. I don't remember. I thought it was like a spinoff that what didn't feel the same. I don't remember the one. I don't remember seeing you in that one. But I think we've all been in that mood, whether you do a job interview or you do. I've had job interviews where I've had the same thing. They said, send me something in radio that you do on your morning show. And I was sent a bunch of clips and they'll go, we want you. You're coming to Cleveland. And then I'm like, well, which part did you like? Because, and then
Right,
guess what? The two times that's happened to me, I came back with not the stuff they wanted. And then I was out of the job. You know what I mean? Before I even made the move, but they're like, "Oh man," my agent's like, "You're that's it. They loved your choices. You were great." Well, which choice did they like? I gave
yeah,
them three, and
right,
it's hard to know. But yeah, I understand. Even for you, who your job as an actress is to be not be Nicole, is to be whatever you want me to be, and now you don't know what part they liked about you not being Nicole, what choices you made. That's tough.
right, it's like, it's like the thing where you go to the hairstylist to get your haircut and you show them a picture, and the hairstylist has to say, okay, what is it about this picture that you like? What is it about this haircut? Because everybody sees everything differently,
That's
interprets
true.
things differently. And
That's true.
yeah, it's one of those things. And nobody really kind of sat me down and talked about like what it was they loved about the audition. And and then I show up on set and those producers aren't there. It's, the director and the cast. This was with Robin Thicke and an actor that he just was recently on. He played like the pawn guy. I never saw it, but on the what's the karate movie, the karate TV show that came back with Ralph Macchio,
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. He was in that, Matt, and it was it was a fun little thing, but yeah, it didn't work out, and I can't blame myself entirely for it, but I did feel very lost. I
Yeah.
gotta say, I felt very, very lost on that one. Yeah, it's
um
interesting.
it's funny with certain shows coming to an end. I was just watching like the TV show The Connors, which is obviously the Roseanne show. And Roseanne show was on in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, and now here it is. We're coming to an end. I guess they're giving it 6 episodes to close it out, is the way they plan on doing it. But it's a long run, and I'm looking at John Goodman, who's been on basically the entirety of it. And then I'm watching him on Righteous Gemstones, and we talk about commercials and voices, and you hear John Goodman's voice all over the place, and you're going, it's a hell of a career.
Yeah.
That is a long, long run to do it this long and keep going and still have the desire to work. It's not. I imagine it's not just about the money; it's about the art and the enjoyment of doing it.
Yeah, John Goodman's so interesting because he lost a lot of weight,
A
right?
lot.
Like, he totally turned his health game around, and he, how sometimes with people, they don't necessarily make that transition, successfully because people don't, embrace them the same because he was this big teddy bear cuddly guy who
Yeah.
was so funny, and he was like the dad you wanted and all of those things, and then now he's this very thin man, but he definitely transitioned it into success. It didn't affect his career at all, which
No.
I find amazing. But I can't help it whenever I look at him, and I'm so happy for him that he's healthy and all of those things. But I can't help but still think of the John Goodman as like the big guy you want to cuddle. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's funny. Do you watch, by any chance, do you watch the television show on HBO, The Righteous Gemstones?
No, but I was very tempted to turn it on the other day, and I didn't have enough time. Um, but I want to, because I feel like everything he does is pretty gold.
Pretty
He
good.
is, I think he is one of these lucky actors who kind of gets to pick what he's going to do next, and he's always just fabulous in it.
Yeah, I think you like the acting in it. I mean, every actor in there is outstanding, and it's a comedy. Bradley Cooper showed up in the first episode of this season, and it was just him for 30 straight minutes. There were no other actors stars in it because it's supposed to be a flashback on how this thing started, and it was Bradley Cooper. And I'm watching without knowing Bradley Cooper's even in the episode. I'm like, wait a second, am I watching Bradley Cooper? Because it's supposed to be like, the 1700s,
Yeah.
1800s, and you realize, holy cow, it's Bradley Cooper. And the entire thing, every scene, Bradley Cooper, Bradley Cooper. It was really good. I think you'd enjoy it. I think you'd enjoy the show. It's funny.
Okay, I'm gonna check it out because I also liked the way it looked. I loved the look and the vibe of it. So I figured that was probably something that I was going to enjoy. Excuse my cough. Oh my God, did I get sick after we recorded last week?
Yeah.
I have just not been. Today I finally am back to normal, I think. But my poor kid had it, and I wish I
No.
had realized how bad it really was while she had it. Not to say I didn't take care of her, and I did let her stay home from school, and she stayed home from school for like 4 or 5 days, which is so
Wow.
unlike her. But when she kept telling me, I'm so dizzy, I'm so dizzy, and I was like, oh my gosh, lay down. Okay, the dizzy thing was so real. I couldn't get up and go anywhere. Things were like getting dark. Like I was so dizzy, things were getting dark, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to sit down." And it was like 7, 8 days of this. I was not sure if it was going away. So it's a nasty, nasty flu going around. But
Yeah, there is.
whoa. So thank God I think knock on wood, I can say that I just put that behind me today. I woke up feeling like, oh, I can get up. I woke up like happy to be awake. The other days I've been like, oh my God. Oh my God, am I awake? Make this go away. I want to go back to sleep. Um, it's been really hard.
I'm glad
So
you're feeling better. Yeah, it's so many people I know, same thing. I mean, you aren't the only one. It's going around. People are out and they're saying that, man, I'm so tired. I'm so dizzy. I'm
so
just tired.
tired, so dizzy. I was yeah, it was horrible. Really, really horrible and lengthy. It really hung around for a minute. So I'm glad that could be gone. So I have a product alert today.
Okay.
I went shopping. I was in Sephora, and there's some products that are worth the money. And for the most part, I always feel like you can find competitors, but sometimes there's just the product that you're like, they got the formula. And I randomly ran across this because it was the tester. It was the tester sitting out, and I have scarring on my neck from radiation. So I picked up this tester, and it's from It Cosmetics, and the display was showing women with like really uneven skin tone, maybe even possible like birthmarks on their face, but it's supposed to be like this high coverage makeup. So I was like, oh, I'm waiting for Keegan. She's lost in there for hours. I'm bored. So I go and I try it and I put it on my neck and I'm like, well, holy crap. And Keegan comes around the corner and I'm like, look, does this look good? She's like, oh, yeah, that's like a perfect match for your skin tone too. So it was kismet. It was meant to be, because how often is it just the tester that is exactly your skin tone? We were meant to find each other, but it's the it, and it's called CC Plus Natural Matte. Now, don't typically like a matte makeup because I feel like it makes me dry and it sets in my wrinkles, and I don't like it at all. It also has SPF 40 in it. I do not appreciate foundations with sunblock in it. I don't like it. This one does not bother me one bit, because I feel like when there's sunblock in your foundation, it like catches in your pores. I can
Mhm.
see it. I can see that there's sunblock in there, especially when it's as high as something like 40. Um, but it's color correcting, it's pore refining, which I don't typically fall for that one either, but this one does it. Full coverage cream. plus skin balancing serum. And again, the 40 spectrum. It's in this little tube. This guy will run you $50. But when I say the color match is spot on and you don't need a lot, and so before I go to spend the $50 too, let me just say I find one of the girls who works there, one that's got all the makeup on. So I know
Yeah.
she knows all the products because she's wearing everything that they have. So I ask her, and she goes, I've heard really great things about it, and I've heard really great things for aging skin, which obviously is it's my market. And I said, "Really?" And she said, "Yes, I'm hearing amazing things about this for women your age." And she goes, "And listen, try it. If you don't like it, you can bring it back." So I said, "Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull the plug." And the color was, I didn't even have to search for the color or ask her because the tester was the one. And they've got a ton of colors, which I love too, because sometimes they're like, they're close, they're not close enough. And then you kind of have to match it with your powder, or, you've got to blend it out. They've got a match for you. So go to Sephora, try it, see if you like it. And at first I was skeptical too. Again, I was like, it's matte. It's so weird. Because I like a little bit of a glow and a little bit of a shine, but nope, I think that they found the perfect formula. At least for me, I am sold. I am in. Give it a shot. I did not try their concealers and stuff like that. Probably next time I'm in there wasting time, I will check those out, because this is not creasing. This is not doing anything weird to my skin. So for $50, I say go give it a shot. And again, if you don't like it, you take it back. You just bring your receipt and you tell them you didn't like it. And so it's really a win-win. But Cosmetics,
Okay.
they're onto something. I highly recommend. So yeah, I'm super thrilled with that purchase. And I have to be thrilled, because for $50, I will return it if I'm not absolutely in love with it.
There you go. All right. Hey, before we get to the mailbag and everything, did you see Housewives of Beverly Hills?
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
Is there anything that stood out to you? I just had one question out of the whole show for you.
Well,
Is there?
what's your question?
You know what? Because obviously I talked to you, and we all know about paparazzi, and in LA it's everywhere, and they're looking for pictures, and this is how these guys get paid. And we know the girls can be catty, and they aren't exactly rooting for each other. But when Garcelle made the comment about Kyle and the paparazzi taking pictures, like she's like, relax, is kind of how she said it on the show. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? I said, anyone who watches Housewives can't get enough pictures right now of Kyle or Mauricio. Like, if they're available, I want to see them too. And I just thought Garcelle was like, either it's a jealousy thing the way she said it, or they aren't taking pictures of her and she's never seen it. But I can't imagine she was truthful when she was making the comments like, there's no way the paparazzi's looking for Kyle everywhere she goes. And I'm like, 100%, it's a popular show. And she is the storyline. Her marriage breaking up on that show is a big deal.
Yes, and if it's not paparazzi, it's gonna be somebody else going, "Oh, look, I
Yep.
saw her out there with their camera phone," and selling it to the paparazzi. Let's talk about Garcelle for a second, because this pains me, honestly, to say, but I just did this, a podcast called Bonded by Bravo, and we were talking about it, and I was really been brainstorming about Garcelle recently. That she's got some qualities that I don't like. She
Me
says
neither.
things with a smile, and she's not very nice sometimes, because the ladies had asked me why I thought, Garcelle and Sutton were friends, and I was like, well, maybe she feels sorry for Sutton and everything. I'm starting to feel like that Garcelle took Sutton under her wing because nobody else really liked Sutton. And Garcelle has a lot going on outside of this show. So I think she can feel disconnected from the ladies pretty easily and quickly, because let's face it, she is a working actress. She is a working producer. She does do other things that take up her time. She's got stuff going on. So I felt like, now I'm like, should she take Sutton under her wing, because it's sort of a safety net, so she knows she's got an ally all the time? She's throwing Kyle under the bus nonstop, and it became extra apparent in the last 2 episodes because she doesn't like that Sutton wants to be friends with Kyle so bad and wants Kyle to like her so bad. It
Yeah.
ticks Garcelle off.
Yes.
I think it's making Garcelle feel like, what? Like, I'm not enough? Like, I'm your friend, you know? Why do you care so much? And I'm feeling this from Garcelle. Like she's throwing everybody under the bus because she doesn't want they're taking Sutton's attention away. And it's just I don't know. I'm feeling some weird vibes. And then I also read somewhere that Bose and Garcelle doesn't like Bose. And I think I caught a couple side eyes at Bose from Garcelle last night. Like,
Yeah.
why are you piping in? Why are you talking about my friend? And I'm feeling like maybe Garcelle's got some underlying like control, jealousy tendencies. And it was interesting because I think it was Eric. Yeah, it was Erica that called her out and said, it's so interesting how Garcelle wants to talk about Kyle and Kyle's relationship with this Morgan, but we're not hearing anything about Garcelle's love life. And
Yes.
then she kind of followed it up with a snarky thing about, well, maybe there is no love life. Maybe that like her roster of hot guys ran out, which there's two sides to this. Is one is, you know, the reason Garcelle wants to know, everybody wants to know what's going on with Kyle and Morgan. So it is a fair question, but you know, it is true too. Yeah. Garcelle doesn't talk about who she's going on dates with
Yeah.
and everything. There's this double standard, but yeah, I'm kind of feeling like Garcelle is a little bit of an island of her own, and she throws jabs from that island. And I was
Agree.
thinking back to when she tried to like throw the race card at Dorit, and you know, of course, if I'm Garcelle, I don't want somebody to say that I was attacking them when I wasn't attacking them either. So I do have Garcelle's back on all of that, but all of the things adding up, it's just seeming like there could be a little
Yeah.
bit of catty to Garcelle.
Yeah. I felt that way about her for years. You know, I just was not a fan. And it's her. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's just her. You know, I'm fine with I'm not a Sutton fan either. Those are the two people I dislike the most on the show. At the same time, I almost feel like every character on that show, and I call them characters because they've developed their own persona, could actually move on to another show and still be successful. Like you go, okay, they're now on this show. I'm still going to watch. Garcelle and Sutton go to another show. I'm not following them anywhere. Like if you told me, hey, guess what? You can now catch Sutton on so and so. Okay, well, I'm not
Yeah.
turning the channel.
I
It,
think
you
I
know,
think I
either one of
agree
them.
with that. I agree with, and now I'm like thinking back. Remember when Garcelle got like 2 fish? She had 2 fish in a vase in her new home, and she named them like Kyle and Dorit or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
And she was like, "This one's Kyle because it's boring or like it has no color or something like that." And I
yeah,
was like, and she took a jab when her and Kyle showed up in a dress in the same dress,
yeah,
and she goes, "Oh, I always said that Kyle had terrible fashion sense." And I'm
yeah,
thinking to myself, okay, first of all, Kyle does not have terrible fashion sense. It might not be the best, but it's not the worst. And Garcelle, I'm not so sure yours is.
yeah.
You're no Dorit, you're
Exactly.
no Erica. Um, but and I would never say that about her or her fashion unless she wasn't jabbing on somebody else. It's like, yeah. Now
I'm
I'm
with you.
saying all that and I'm looking at my hair. You know, I woke up looking like, you know, do you know, like, I think her name's Karen Burrell, that chef with the
Yeah.
white hair and it sticks up everywhere.
Yeah.
That's what I woke up looking like, and I've
Oh,
been
that's funny.
wetting it and pasting it down all morning. So I've held
I
my
thought you
head.
think your hair looks great. No, it's
Oh
funny
God, I'm
you said
sitting
that.
here like criticizing other people, and I'm
No,
like,
no. Now you're getting
what
all
is?
paranoid. No, I thought you looked great.
Yeah,
You're
I'm like, what
fine.
is that hair?
No,
Um,
you're absolutely fine.
But yeah, and I'm sick of hearing these arguments, and you're not getting anywhere with that Sutton. She's never gonna hear it. She's never gonna see it. She's always gonna revert back to that little baby voice. I just, I want them to move on.
Me too. Me too. I'm with you. All right,
Yeah.
let's get to these questions. I got more than 5 questions today.
Oh,
Okay. And again, if you have a question for Nicole, it's easy. You go to the website, perfectlytwistedpod.com. You'll see the mailbag at the top. Get those questions in. We had Jeremy Gold was nice enough to send in about 10. Jeremy, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to get to 10, but I'll get to some of them. Okay. You ready, Nicole?
I'm ready. All right, let's
Okay.
go, Jeremy. What you got?
Okay. Nicole, I love that you sell items on eBay. Will the 1989 poster of you on the beach in a pink outfit ever be available?
God, that's so interesting. I wish I knew where those were. When I sell those posters on my eBay, those are legit runoffs from the 90s or the 80s when I shot that. Those are like OG original runoffs. And I don't know where the pack of the one in the pink went. Somewhere in the move and storage and all that, somewhere those got lost somehow. I don't know. And I don't know how you go. I maybe to answer your question, I don't know. Maybe I would have to figure out how to like run off some of those posters. But I love that shot too.
Yeah.
That was I actually like that one better. But I just don't have those. I don't have the inventory.
Yeah, it's funny. That's one of those things. If you type in your name and you do images, it's one of those that pops up every time. That picture. I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, maybe I will look into that because I have thought about it. It's crossed my mind for sure.
Yep. All right. Next question is Nicole. You said you were a car person. Do you remember the first car you ever drove and the first car you ever owned?
Okay. So the first car I ever drove would probably have to be my mother's car in the day. It was a Toyota
Okay. Yeah,
Cressida,
I
however
remember
you
that.
would say
I
that.
remember this.
Remember those? And I smashed it. I smashed it
Oh
right
no.
into my dad's GMC truck.
Oh my
Like
God. You took out two cars at one time?
I did both my parents cars. I stole the car
Oh
and
no.
oh my god. You know what? It's so funny. It reminds me of this meme I just saw. It's got the Kendrick Lamar song playing, They're Not Like Us, They're Not Like Us. And the meme says, when I was 13, I stole my parents' car to go get ice cream. And then they look over at their 13-year-old kid and they're like, my 13-year-old's afraid to order her own food at the restaurant.
Yeah.
They're not like us. And it hit so close to home for me because I was like, yep, that was me stealing the car.
Yeah.
Because I had to learn on something. I remember trying to learn a stick shift on Scott Baio's car. He had a truck, a horrible Mazda truck that was stick shift. So he was trying to teach me how to drive stick. And I remember I like messed up and I didn't do something right. And he wailed off and smacked my leg.
Oh wow.
And I was like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
I don't need this. I'm already nervous.
Yeah.
Um, now you're throwing physical abuse into
Yeah.
this. So, no, but he hit my leg. So, I remember that. And then, I don't remember. It must have been my mother's car that I took my driving test on. And then, this is who I was right before I got my driver's license. I went into Volkswagen in Glendale and I bought myself a Volkswagen Cabriolet stick shift and tried to drive it out of there. I couldn't. I had to call a friend and I was like, you have to come get me. You got to come get me because I'm like keep stalling out on the side of the road in this car. So, I quickly learned how to drive stick shift. So that was
Yeah.
really like my first car, my first driving experience was a stick Volkswagen Cabriolet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. Nicole, do you have any plans for meet and greets in New York City coming up?
I don't. I don't have anything planned. If you know of any of those, let me know. Reach out to the convention, um, the people that run it. I have no talks of doing any. I just have my virtual meet and greets on eBay, and that's all I can really offer right now. No, I haven't been contacted by any conventions.
Okay. Next one. Nicole, Michael Jackson and Prince were two of my favorite artists. Have you ever met either one of them?
Oh yes, met them both. Michael Jackson, it was kind of from afar and it was very brief. Prince, I met out at a club and he asked me out. And I mean, he was my all-time favorite artist. I can't even tell you how much crap that his albums got me through. And I loved him so much. And when he was on his way to pick me up, he called me from the car and he was talking in a very Prince-like manner about the car. And I got so scared. I flaked on him. I
No
backed out of
way.
the
No
date.
way.
I did. He showed up outside my place in a convertible. I'm horrible. I'm horrible. I in hindsight, I should have just gone for the experience and done it, but I was so scared of him
Oh my
because
God.
I felt like I was gonna get in and it was gonna be fur lined and like it was gonna be a porn or something. I just do you know what I mean? Like he gave me such sexual vibes
Yeah,
that I was
he
so
gave everybody
yeah.
sexual vibes.
I was
That's what he
so
did.
intimidated. I
That's what
was
he
so
did.
intimidated and so scared, and his phone call just blew it, his phone call from the car, and he was promising, like, such a good time, and, it was like he was recording on the album, and I was like, "I can't do this. I can't do this.
How did you get
I
out of
I
it? What did you
I
say?
I had to say, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't do it. I just can't."
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, through the
Yeah.
intercom at the
Yeah.
gate,
Oh,
I
geez.
flaked on Prince like a big fat jerk.
It might have been the best movie ever pulled, and at the same time might have been the worst movie. You just don't know.
Worst.
Yeah.
I would pay money right now to have spent time with that. But yeah, how would I have dealt with all his sexuality? Like he
Yeah.
was a sexual being.
It's
I don't
intimidating.
know how I would have dealt with that. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
it's
But I
intimidating.
wasn't
Yeah.
going on the date with him because I was attracted to him. I was going on the date with him because it was fucking Prince.
Yeah. I
And
got
he
news for
asked
you.
me out, wanted to
And he was
spend time
going
with
on the
me.
date for you for just the opposite reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was not gonna yeah, it was just a bad this was a bad combination of things and reasons, and, so I had to back out of it.
All right. Good stuff. That's good stuff right there. All
Uh,
right. Nicole, do you remember the first concert you attended?
yes. Okay. Okay, the very first concert I attended was at the Forum, and it was because it's my friend Heather Hawes and our moms were good friends, and they were in love with Rod Stewart. So they dragged us along to a Rod Stewart concert, and I just remember sitting there so high from the secondhand so high from the contact high in that place, and just, not being a Rod Stewart fan because I was very young. Um, that was my first experience and going, "Wow, this is a trip. This is what people do."
Yep.
So, my first, like, where I got myself tickets and I went was Depeche Mode.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Last question from Jeremy is Nicole, do you have a favorite episode of Charles in Charge?
Oh. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I remember any episodes. I guess I would have to take it back to, like, some of the first episodes. I remember, it could have been the first or one of the first episodes where I am getting dressed up to go sneak out of the house to go to, like, a nightclub or go
Okay.
to a party,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I think I'm trying to talk my sister, the younger sister who's a goody two shoes,
Yeah.
to doing it with me, and I think we get caught before we get out of the house, and we're dressed all crazy, but I could relate to it.
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, now we're
Now we're
talking.
doing it. Yeah.
I know what this is about. Yeah, we're gonna get dressed up, we're gonna sneak out the window." That was up my alley. So I think that was that was a fun episode.
That's cool. Jeremy, appreciate that. That was fun. That was a good time. Again, if you have a question for Nicole, go ahead. You get your questions in perfectlytwistedpod.com and you'll see the mailbag at the top of the screen and we'll get them on the show. But Jeremy, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy, and give us a like, give us a follow, give us a download, give us a listen, all those good things, a rating, we like those stars. We like the stars next to our name. All right, great. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you next week.